Now, one thing to understand about creating a strong brand is if you take a stand on something, some people are going to like you and some people are not. But to have a brand, you have to have a stand. You have to take a stand and you have to say, this is who I am. It's a risk, but if you're progressive, if you're moving in the right direction, it's not a bad thing to do. Hey there and welcome back to my channel. My name is Nthanda and I'm a digital creator from Malawi. So I started this series, the DigiService series, about a year ago because I was going through my own personal journey of branding and marketing my business, and I started noticing how there was such a big gap in information, like how I didn't know how badly I need to brand my business and myself as a person. So having gone through that journey of branding my own businesses and myself as an individual, I wanted to share this basic information with you guys so you can learn something and use this information for your personal brands. If you are already a subscriber, welcome back, and if you are new here, don't forget to subscribe and become a part of the community. Now, normally when we speak of branding, we think of big brands, we think of companies, we think of you're starting a different business or something else. It's rarely ever about you as an individual. Now picture this, there is who you are and then there is who you're perceived to be. Good branding is basically a convergence of these two. That who you are is very close or maybe even almost the same as who you're perceived to be. I have heard a lot of people say this. I used to say this. We usually say I am misunderstood, but you're not really misunderstood. You are not that hard to understand. What you have is poor branding. What you have is poor communication. Your brand just lacks clarity, but worry not, that's why I'm here. That's why we are having this chat about how you can better brand yourself and create a magnetic personal brand. Now, why would you want to brand yourself, particularly in the digital space? You are an individual, and if you're a digital creator like myself, or whatever business that you're in, whatever trade that you're in, you want a bigger audience. In whatever business you're in whatever trade that you're in, you want a bigger audience, and you don't want just any random audience. You want to attract your tribe. How do you attract your tribe? By letting your tribe know that you exist. And how do you do that? By branding yourself and communicating that to an audience to say, this is who I am, I exist, I'm here, and your audience comes to you. So whether you have a big business and maybe you're just in the background somewhere, whether you like it or not, you are a brand as a person. People don't do business with businesses. People do business with people. So whether you want to be a brand or not, you are a personal brand. There are ways that you're perceived and you want to be sure that whatever is out there is being communicated properly about you. Your brand is a convergence of who you are as a person, the one you know yourself to be, and who you are perceived to be. For some brands like my own, having a strong personal and magnetic brand is very key. So I am going to share with you 7 key tips that you need to make your brand stronger and create a stronger personal brand for yourself. The first thing that you're going to have to master is differentiation. So in an effort to differentiate yourself, you must know your story and you must be able to communicate it. Basically, each one of us is unique in our very different ways. We might even seem to be similar, like, oh, you do this type of content, I do this type of content. We're kind of similar, but maybe we're based in different cities. And just that one demarcation makes us very different, and we should be able to communicate that difference. As a brand, you must be able to communicate who you are, what you do, why you do it, where you do it, when it is done, and how it is done. And your audience must be very clear about that journey that you're on. If you haven't gone through this journey, ask yourself, who am I? What do I do? What makes me different from the next person? If it's in social media, people follow thousands and thousands of people. If I'm already following thousands of people, why should I follow you? What about your story is unique, is different, that I must follow you today? When you come on my timeline, are you just somebody who is just breezing by, who is just passing by, you don't really capture my attention? Or do you have something about you that captures my attention, that makes me stop for a while to stay and say, oh yeah, here's a brand, here's a story that I understand and I'm following. Now, in the same line of crystallizing your story, we want to talk about authenticity. That's the second thing you want to focus on, authenticity. Create your brand offline, off social media, off digital spaces. So in this day and age where we have a lot of social media personas, where we have our personalities that are digital and maybe even who we kind of are, a part of who we are or who we aspire to be, some people are not real. You're a whole different person in real life and then you're a different person on social media. When we speak of authenticity, you want to be real, you want to be authentic, you want to be relatable, and you want to be truthful. To be able to be truthful, you must be real even offline. So whatever it is that you're portraying on social media must match what you are in real life. So don't let your social media become your aspiration, where you go to live out your aspirations, your dream life, or what you want to be. Try to level up in real life. Try to level up in real life so you can match what you are on social media. So kind of push yourself. Get the better house, get the better job, get the better lifestyle, but just make sure that whatever you're communicating via your social media channels is your true and authentic self, so you don't have to lie. The third thing that you want to focus on in creating a magnetic brand is developing your brand substance, your core values, your key performances. Growing up as a kid, and I digress here, growing up as a kid, I was a kid who lied a lot. I'm still unpacking why that was so. I haven't learned a lot of it. And as a key principle as an adult, one of my core values is that I don't lie. I'm truthful, and that's not easy, by the way. I'm truthful. I will maybe not always volunteer information, but I'm truthful, and I try my best to always be truthful. That's a core value of mine. Another core value of mine is that I'm very real. So whatever you get to see here is who I am. However I communicate that I feel, I don't lie, I don't do passive aggression. They're basic core values and principles that as a brand, I'm not going to flip-flop on. I'm not going to shake on. So there's certain things that I'm identified as. For example, like I'm a feminist, I'm for women's empowerment, I am for girl child empowerment, I'm for queer rights. I stand for certain principles that are core values to my being, and I'm not going to shake and shift about those things. So your brand must have substance. It's not just about having a beautiful face and putting it out on social media, having a great body and putting it out on social media. We are talking building brands that brands can work with. You must have substance. You must take a stand on things and stand firmly by them. In the same line of exploring that, you must also maybe reach out to your audience. Usually for me, I do Instagram posts and some Q&As. So in my Q&As, I'll ask people to say, how do you perceive me? And people usually say, oh, I see you as this, I see you as that. Usually I get you're ambitious, you're inspiring, you're a go-getter. And it's not that that's untruthful about me, but those are just parts of me. So I get the question to say, what am I putting out there? How am I communicating that people are getting my brand to be particularly this? Like, why is this part of my brand so strong? Is it in my communication? Do I need to change something? Is there something else that I want my audience to get about me, or is this enough? To be able to correctly communicate your brand, you must understand yourself. And to understand yourself, you really have to invest a lot in self-development. And that brings me to my fourth point, self-development. Consider personal healing. Now, personal healing is a journey. It's not a one-day trip. It's a long-term process. I wrote my book, I think, when I was about to become 20, all the way to the time I was 22. I am now 25. It's been years, but I still don't feel that I'm there yet in knowing myself, in healing myself, healing my traumas. I'm still constantly learning new things about myself, getting better, healing so many of my traumas and getting better every day. In the process of self-development, the most important thing is to not be defensive about your traits, whether they're good or bad. Usually the bad ones are the ones which drive us to be defensive. Do not be defensive. Take a step back and say, why do people see me this way? Is there a way I can change and improve that? You're not always the victim. Other people are not always the bad guys. So figure out ways in which you can change and better yourself. Being a digital influencer, being a content creator means you're constantly going to have to be real about the things you're putting out, and that brings a lot of interaction. You are very raw on so many edges, and you have to make sure that you're constantly healing yourself so you're not projecting and you're a healthy person to interact with. When people have an interaction with you, they shouldn't feel violated. They should feel that they were welcome in that space and that you're a healthy and healed person. And the fifth point, which would probably be the focus on most people, but for me it's just one part of the 7 things I'm sharing here, is recognizability. Your brand has to be recognizable. A good brand is presented specifically, assertively, and clearly. So you're gonna have to be very clear in your story. One thing I always tell to people who I mentor and I work with is uniformize your social media if your social media is where you work. If I'm coming to Twitter, I don't want to find there is Nthanda on Twitter, then I go to Instagram, your handle is Nthanda L, then on Facebook it's Nthanda L Mandui. I want to have the same handle on all social media. So my opinion is try to get on all social media platforms, but focus on 2 to create content for and like really focus on. But on all social media platforms where you're present, your handle should be uniform. Only in the cases where you absolutely cannot get that handle, then maybe fine, but otherwise your handle should try to be uniform. After you have done that, you basically want to brand yourself as you would any other business. You're talking about creating a logo, maybe if you need to, brand colors, brand fonts, brand shapes, your tone, your voice. How do you sound? You have to be clear about that and define it to say, as me, this is how I communicate myself to achieve this result, mirroring who I really am. And the sixth thing in creating a magnetic brand for yourself is investing in continuity. You want to be consistent. You want to continue. Now, consistency does not mean that you don't evolve. You are allowed to evolve. You are allowed to become better as a human being. But what you don't want to be is somebody who flip-flops. You don't want to be today, I believe in this, and tomorrow I don't believe in that. Today I'm pro-choice, tomorrow I'm pro-life. You need to take a stand and stick with it. Now again, I say personal development is not wrong and evolution is a beautiful thing. You evolving, especially if it's you and learning, is a great thing. What you want to do is basically to progress in a direction that's progressive. You want to be progressive. You want to be getting better. You don't want to denigrate. You don't want to move to a regressive state. So even as you evolve, try to be consistent in your evolution. Try to always make sure you're getting better. And the seventh and last thing about creating a magnetic brand online is composure. Composure in the sense that you don't let anybody get you out of line. You don't ever behave differently from how you would because somebody did something. Now, as a content creator, as a digital media person, as an influencer, as a celebrity, you are always going to get people rubbing you the wrong way. Don't ever get out of character, because those things can cause you to react badly and there are repercussions, especially if you work with brands or you're working with different people, maybe companies and all that. It will affect you. Don't ever say, I was cussing on social media because this person made me feel bad about this way. You're a brand, take yourself seriously, and you stick to that, you stick through it, you're who you are, you communicate it, and you stick to that brand. If it's kindness, you remain kind even if you're attacked. And I know that's hard, that's not going to be easy, but protect your brand. Building a brand is not easy, and you don't want to build a brand and then watch it crumble. At a later stage, I'll talk about being a public figure and the mental health repercussions and how you can heal, how I heal myself, because I know that's a bit of a touchy topic. But for now, I've given you the basics of creating a magnetic brand, personal branding, creating a strong brand for the 2020s, especially in digital spaces. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Follow me on social media. I'll be seeing you very soon. Until then, stay kind.